Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. I wanted to do a reading. I know I said in the last reading I tried to space it out, but I go with the flow too. And um, I just had so many good ideas lately, and when I have a good idea, I act on it as much as my heart desires to. So, and today I have my Natural Vitality Calm Gummies, the magnesium supplement. So this one is the raspberry lemon flavor. I prefer this flavor. There's an orange one too, but I think this is more uh, of the taste that I like with other natural flavors. 330 milligrams magnesium per serving. So the serving is 4 gummies. I don't always take 4, but the type of magnesium is the magnesium citrate. And I do like the different types of ways to take the supplements. I like these. I am kind of picky with the food ones because the gummies, um, I like these, so I'm not, I've taken them for a while, and the lid is hard to open. Even with the pull and lift tab that you get, um, it says supports a healthy response to stress. I mainly feel that it helps with my cognition, and I tend to feel more alert and awake. Yeah, there's these like bro, bro, bone broth, um, it's like a, looks like a dark chocolate type of bar, and I believe from what I remember, that's why I said it looks based off of what I remember. And they changed the formula, and so I really liked them when I had them before, and I feel like it was mainly just the coca in it, and it wasn't necessarily like a milk product. And the second time around, well, when the new formula came out, it was, I felt like I was fighting for my life when I was eating it because it was so hard to chew. And even when you try like bending it, it was hard to do that to get it to break. And I don't like to just bite into it. Um, but one might say like, why would you even eat that? It was pretty tasty from what I remember. It doesn't taste like bone broth or something like that. It it tasted like more rounded when I ate it. And let me just mm, I'm pretty sure it was bone broth. But I thought it was good. And then just giving my little updates in the beginning of the video. Sometimes they tend to be really long, but I'm almost finished with my sweater. It's gonna be a crop sweater, and I got one sleeve and two sleeves. And it's not my surprise. I'm using a different yarn than what was used for the original garment, and it has different yardage. It's a slightly different weight of yarn, but am still knitting it at the gauge that the pattern called for. So I'm hoping to finish early because I saw that my spinning wheel should be arriving on Monday. Today is Sunday. It's past midnight, and I usually get like the sneezes around like past midnight, like around 12:30 to like around 2 my Eastern Standard Time. So I'm thinking, who's talking about me or who's thinking about me around this time? It's it's pretty on schedule for when it happens. So um, there's a specific message that I was getting before I started, well, before I pressed record, and I don't know if this is TMI, but I guess I don't, it might be like, it's not a medical video, but there will be some discussions on those types of topics. It's like when you have a wound and you just keep like picking at it, even when it's trying to heal, but you continue to mess with it and then it just elongates the healing process. Because the first two cards that I got are the first card that I got is Gifts from God. Archangel Saldafon, we angels bring you gifts from your creator. Open your arms to receive. And with that underneath was All is Well. Archangel Meal. Everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to. With hidden blessings, you will soon understand. So there's something with like the time frame and process of what you were kind of expecting or what you stamped on it, and then it wasn't like that. Um, and like if you're going through like government or court, those types of things were, I guess, government affairs, court affairs, and even if you're connected with a person, and it could also be related to that, but it might not be related to that, might be kind of separate, but you might be going through multiple things that link it to those separately. Um, it's as if time just is not what was expected, and there can be certain things that might shock the reaction or the outcome, like if it was like a forced outcome, and even elongating is kind of a forced outcome too, because things are just lagging on. a wound that hasn't completely healed, or maybe it needs time for people to process, and even maybe court or government that can be intermingled like that too. Those things need to process. I've learned with working with those different types of structures that it's definitely hard to gauge the time frame based off of just my side of it. And as for shock, um, it's definitely on everyone's individual kind of, well, their health charts, and there are products like tirzepatide and semaglutide, those types of injections that help with maybe weight loss. They can be geared towards specific audiences, um, and their processes in the way that it's done once it enters the body can have its individual effect. But as I was saying with shock, it's kind of one of those things where we think about as maybe holistic medicine, um, traditional or herbal medicine with modern medicine. One of the main arguments is that is are we meant to put things in our body that are this strong and sometimes harsh? I have worked with modern medicine and traditional medicine, so I see the different angles that you might argue or look at with it. Just in general, those were examples, and semaglutide is the active ingredient of Ozempic, and then tirzepatide is the active ingredient of Zepbound. And sometimes when we go through extreme change, extreme weight loss, it can be detrimental. And one of the things is that our bodies might not be able to react quick enough to what we're receiving. And sometimes in extreme weight loss, when it's done like all at once, it's like maybe your skin, it doesn't know how to react to such extreme force, and so it may not keep the same or keep up with the weight loss and how it's going to be after losing X amount of weight. And I do want to emphasize it's definitely on an individual basis, especially like if it's needed. And I'm gonna keep pulling cards, I'm sorry. Especially if conditions like diabetes, it leads to so many other complications that it might be something that you look into. And um, more recently, the pharmacy was that I was at, that I haven't been to in a little bit, but not just a little bit, but I plan to make a round at some point. They started being able to provide the injections of the active ingredients, and there also comes a time where years later of when a medication has been out for uh, a couple of years, as I said, that they get confronted because, well, one of the reasons is because for the medication's high demands and the company or brand isn't able to produce as much as the demand is. So then it opens up another door for other others to take this active ingredient and to sell the product with this active ingredient. Me saying I was going to pull out cards. I'm sorry, I didn't pull out cards. King of Earth, generous, professional, responsible, practical, a successful time, confidently accept opportunities you're offered, the Midas touch. That was the card that fell out from the Angel Tarot. And it can be harsh too, and a different angle when we're thinking about the PBMs and the pharmacy benefits managers that dictates what the how they're going to end up helping with the payment of the medication if they do. Sometimes it's not in their formulary. And when you say something isn't in their formulary, it's not on the list of medications that the insurance is willing to cover. And there's a lot of other variables too when you run the insurance. And you see, even when you have, like for Zepbound specifically, and the insurance doesn't cover it, there has been a coupon was that's been out. Even with the coupon, in the bottom is Temperance from the Glory to Ukraine Tarot. The medication is like still $500 around that from what I ran the last time uh, for that medication. And when you're not buying the brand, there's definitely a price difference. There's also the liability too for the establishments that carry the injection. So the pharmacy didn't provide the service of injecting the person, and they wanted to do collaborations with like a doctor's office to ensure that they would do it correctly. Some people were able to do that. Um, Still out of pocket is like a couple hundred for the injection, and there's the different strengths for the injections as there are for the branded medication. Ozempic, I've seen the coverage, and again, it depends on your insurance and um, what the situation might be at the time. Because a lot of times when you continue on with the insurance, there's a lot of different policies that pop up. So with Ozempic, I've seen a pretty low copay on it, and that's without saying that there's a deductible that still needs to be paid into. Another thing maybe that you would look out for, like hormone medications. And again, you'd have to see the situation, but say if you mess with your like thyroid medication and it causes the like it affects your hair, so maybe you want to have like a scalp treating compound. Usually it has like minoxidil, finasteride, tretinoin in the compounded medication, and usually that's out of pocket too. And even with the compounds, as I've mentioned, it's definitely a process because you would want to know what the capabilities are of the ingredients and maybe what's not to be done with them and what is helpful to know with them. Tretinoin is a ingredient that is affected by light. So that's an example there. It's pretty recognizable. It's like a neon yellow color. There's a lot of pentacle energy coming in. So I feel like this is to your advantage there. On working on things that can help in that, it can be financial growth or a good investment with the Nine of Coins and the Ten of Cups. It's like other people will benefit from this cause. It does feel like there is a lead there because you have the Nine of Coins. You also have the King of Pentacles, the King of Earth, so that's the same as the coins. Also with the tree there, it does seem like it's more of a rooted energy, even though it's cups, but the water helps with that growth. It also reminds me of mangroves with the roots in the ground. or trees that benefit from having that much water with them. And again, even with plants, of course, you'll want to know what the plants would thrive in, because not every plant will thrive in a specific environment. And even in the future, it's the Four of Earth, the Four of Pentacles. And it does seem like a saving type of energy, as if the King of Pentacles has plans. Because this one says, being too frivolous or too cautious with money, good business decisions, giving to those less fortunate. It's an interesting and another way of saying the Four of Pentacles. You could relate to the Four of Pentacles or the Four of Earth, the Four of Coins, as like a miserly card, or like maybe like the Scrooge type of card. In like in terms of those types of rewards, but it makes it seem like not only is it maybe like a financial gain, but there is some type of benefit for a suggested group or another person that might be involved. Like it could be a family setting too, where there are types of agreements there. Um, mm, well, maybe I'll just mention it because I was a caregiver maybe a couple of years ago. Adrian, maybe a couple of, it was a couple of years ago. And I wouldn't say it was my type of field that I would strive for, mainly because I like to help, but I tend to like to help at a distance. And when I would work in the lab, it would mainly be me, unless I was training. So most of the day, I didn't really talk to anybody, and I was okay with that. Then when I walked out of the lab, I was like, I'm just gonna go back in the lab. But with the caregiving job, it was interesting for some things specifically when I was doing it. And I don't mean to sound like creepy, but sometimes when I would visit some residents or some elderly people, and it may not have been at their home, but I would drive to the different locations. Sometimes it was in hospice. And I remember a couple instances, but two really stood out. Um, One when I was in hospice, and I was walking by an elderly woman in a wheelchair, and she just looked at me. But when she looked at me, like her face was almost like it's like I was seeing it was dimensional because I was also seeing the hollows of like her face as if it was like the skeleton or the bones, because it for me it kind of felt like that it was an indication that it was almost time. And the two main ones that were really distinct, there was another instance where I saw that in another elderly person too. So Um, it does seem like there's a caring for others. And I wasn't sure if I was going to mention that because I was also thinking like I'm also going to be watching my aunt and she's fine. That's why I was like kind of thinking, but it just kept coming up. So I also feel that it kind of benefits all because I'm staying here and then I can also help with specific things too. They're kind of early cards towards the end because again you had the four of pentacles. For some reason I was going to say page. The page hasn't come up, or I haven't turned over all the cards. But the future is the two of wands. So it feels like there's like a general idea of where the direction is headed. Is in the past you have the eight of cups. And the eight of cups appears to be that there was a decision that was made, and it could have been something that you were following in terms of just seeing how the process would go and based off of what would happen and how things transpired is how you would make your decision. And even with the two of wands here, it seems like there is another person there. So it doesn't look like it's just you. And they're on top of what looks like trees or mountains. The obstacle is the magician with the seven of cups. And the pass is the eight of cups. With this, something looks like it was withheld because if it's going back to seven, there was still something on the table that wasn't addressed. And then presently you have the Temperance card, and that was at the bottom of the deck. I really feel like there is a divine guidance or divine timing, and you could clarify and you can see where the guidance is, like it, which have whatever floats your boat. If you have specific guides, some beings, religion that you're associating with, you could go with that. But there are multiple angels. Well, there's the angel decks, but the magician has Archangel Michael, and then there's Temperance that has I refer to it as like the Holy Spirit because that was one of the visions that I was getting, and you can't really see it, but it was that painting as well. It seems like there's the gifts and all as well with Archangel Dreamiel and Archangel Saldaphon on maybe the things that you withheld. They're still on the table because the universe is like kind of tapping you and reminding you that it's there to make sure that you don't forget that it's there. Because it seems like it just keeps coming up, or the person just keeps coming up, or there's something that is really methodical and it just doesn't go away, or it kind of eats at you too. And it's something that in some way it will be rediscovered or addressed. And even if it comes down to revisiting those types of areas in your life to evaluate and see how it affects you and how you're going to move forward based off of what has happened. You could do that too, but there does seem to be an emphasis of just tapping on your shoulder or something and saying, "Remember, there's this too," and it doesn't go away. It like kind of keeps coming back up. And with the Four of Pentacles there, it kind of feels like maybe there is a mindset, even though it's Earth centered too, that I'm the only one that is perceiving this situation or this item, this person, a specific way. And the reason why I'm not saying anything or the reason why I'm withholding this is because maybe there doesn't want to be like the energy of having to burden other people because of what you might feel like the outcome would be of it. So there's like keeping it to yourself when the Four of Pentacles keeps trying to like push it out. And it does feel like energy of when you try to make something else happen and then it just keeps like reverting back to this. And then maybe at like some point you're just thinking there must be more to this whole situation. I just need to look at this again and try to see it maybe the way that my environment is perceiving it because maybe I'm kind of closing it off and it needs to be again reevaluated or expanded in some way. So, how to overcome the obstacle? It's interesting. It's the Six of Pentacles. And this can be a card where, because it skips from the four to the six, there isn't the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles can be a loss or like discarding things that can be toxic too. With the Six of Pentacles, it's almost as if maybe if you took that risk and it gives you something in return, because the Six of Pentacles is also a card of generosity. Sometimes it can be a card where maybe not the right person gets the generosity. Maybe there is just, you get the bare minimum of the generosity, but it seems like there's enough of it that it's effective for this instance. And it's enough to like kickstart something. Because with the King of Pentacles there, I feel that maybe there isn't too much that's necessary to kick it off. Maybe it just needs to be begun, and the King of Pentacles has a way of having the resources for that too, or knowing somebody who has the resources. You also have the overall energy, the Empress, and the World card. Major Arcana, Magician, and Temperance are Major Arcana in here. This, I feel like there is a lot of like outward service because the World card seems, well, it's a universal card too. And with the Empress energy, because sometimes it's like what I've noticed in life is that I'm not like a mother or anything, but I feel that a lot of people have felt the motherly energy from me, especially with people that are grown or like an adult. And it feels like maybe they didn't have too much of that energy, or maybe they did, but um, from what I've understood, there was a lot of different hardships there, and um, I do feel like there was some, I wouldn't say selfishness for my part, but a lot of times when there was the lack of maternal love that was given to me from another source, I used the feminine or maternal energy that I had in myself and I gave it to myself. And maybe to some people, sometimes I came off more selfish or that I would cater to my needs. But um, it is important to be able to be your own motivator and to keep yourself going. And the cards that I turned over when I was saying that, chakra clearing, Archangel Metatron, call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes and take your power back. Take back your power. Archangel Raziel, use your God given power and intention to manifest blessings in your life. So, for those who haven't felt that maternal energy, maybe even if you do have it, but there can be a distance or um, maybe even a loss in mega sad cases, there seems like the presence of the Empress there, and it can come in different forms because the Empress embodies the different archetypes, the different suits of the queens, and depending on maybe the area, because of the different elements with fire, water, earth, air, on it might be good to think about where it would be, where you would like to feel that type of energy in your life. And if there's a sincerity with it, I feel like it could definitely come to you. You also have this card has, it's the Hanged Man, Awakening, Archangel Gabriel. Look at things from a different perspective, a temporary standstill. It's important to be yourself. This was definitely a message that was coming up earlier with the Hanged Man and seeing things differently, especially when it was withheld with the Seven of Cups, because maybe the Seven of Cups, there was like underlying causes for why you chose a path that you chose, or a cup that you chose, because you were thinking about X, Y, and Z, you were thinking about other people. But then, in terms of the growth that was necessary for you, it was lacking. Yeah, the Nine of Pentacles, there's a lot of pentacle energy that comes in here. So the Nine of Earth, and then it comes up again. So it's in the Angel Tarot and it's in the Slavic Legends Tarot. This one says enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, successful self-employment. Since it's saying self-employment, there can be a release of something, but then it comes, something else is able to unfold there. And it can be the same thing coming back, but it could also be whatever comes to you. It's that type of expansion. The Strength card isn't here, but I do feel like there's an association with the Empress with the Strength card and the World card. And even with the Six of Pentacles, it can link to the Empress and like maybe the Empress is feeling like I'm not giving as much as maybe she or he is thinking. I'm not reading for genders. Um, but in terms of the response, there is a greater response to what she or he is doing. So there's the Three of Fire, the Three of Wands, abundance. Things look very good. Have patience at this time. Make long-term plans. So that's the Three of Wands. There's the Two of Wands. That's in the future card or future position in the Glory to Ukraine Tarot. This was the first card technically, but I turned it over at last. There's also when you're making plans to see through different, well, they're seeing the different perspectives with the hangman, but there is also seeing past things too. That if you feel that there's a reason why you place this specific person or a specific situation in this area of your life, it's good to know where or how they um are basically, I don't want to say categorized, but how you view them and how you feel that they are to you. Like, what is this specific person, specific situation to you? It's it's good to have those things out in the open too. Sometimes it can be if the person is not the most if they have ill intentions, maybe you don't say it out in the open. It depends on what it is, but I think that it'll be good to see what you are. And it's also good for yourself too with your actions and how they are definitive. Like, um, maybe you're involved with a person or you want to be involved in a person. Maybe there's awkward flirting. Like if, I don't know, the guy just touches your cheek and claims it was by accident and definitely not on purpose. But um I mean if that's how your personality is, it's how your personality is. But I mean not but it's just how do you want to be? And are you letting your personality and the person that you are be authentic? I think that's the best thing that I would say with it because I was kind of going in different directions, but um, it's definitely good to make sure that who you are and the most authentic you is out and about. Sometimes with specific people, like the people that have ill intent, maybe you keep your distance and maybe that's how you see them or how they are in your life and maybe they aren't anything in your life and you just kind of categorize them as a person that is not, it's kind of, they're not there, they're not an acquaintance, they're not a friend, they're not your partner, they're a person that tries to maybe associate with you. And that sounds, I don't know if it sounds harsh, but I feel that the people that and the person that you want, the situation that you want, it it's good to have it as a priority if you can get it to be like that. You have angel therapy, Archangel Raphael. Give your cares and worries to us angels and allow us to take your burdens. It seems like there can be, especially like with the card all as well with Archangel Jeremiel, um, it's maybe not completely unfolded. It's like if you open something or you're shaking a gift and you don't know what's in it, and it's hard to tell even when you try to like open maybe a flap and it still hasn't really presented itself. And you do have gifts from God, um, which can be linked to generosity too. I feel like this is a prominent time to receive this person or this thing that you're trying to say to yourself, maybe I should do other things first, or maybe I should withhold for now. But I feel like the universe is kind of just saying to you, I don't know why you keep doing this because we keep like giving you these hints to not do that and to just say okay to this and then let it unfold because it's like it goes into like circles with this. Because it seems like again energy that keeps popping up. Creative writing comes up again. You know what to do comes up again. Those were the main ones from the last reading too, but there were multiple oracle cards, so there could be other cards too. This is creative writing, Archangel Gabriel, who comes out again. Because Archangel Gabriel was on the Hanged Man. So make time to write down your thoughts in a journal or pen an article or book. Teaching and learning, Archangel Zadkiel, keep an open mind and learn new ideas, then teach these ideas to others. I feel like this is one of the more, I don't want to say oppressive cards, but it's a card that it's not easily accepted because you may have gone into this routine, but it it won't be a bad idea to see how things are if the Seven of Cups is coming up again, especially in the obstacle with the Magician and having Archangel Michael there. It almost seems like even Archangel Michael is kind of having your back on this too. Then you know what to do, Archangel Uriel. Trust your inner knowledge and act upon it without delay. And Clairsentience, Archangel Rahul. Notice your reoccurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. That can also go with the obstacle cards. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in another video.